Okay, so in this video we're going to take a look, we're going to continue with the Tidyverse exploration of the Titanic dataset that I obtained from Hal Varian's paper, um, Big Data, New Tricks for Econometrics, and again the data and R code, purely the R code, I was able to download here in the additional material from the Journal of Economic Perspectives. And again, some of the thinking here is that the statistical analysis that we conventionally use for econometrics can be improved if we adopt some of the techniques that are widely used, so machine learning and some of the data transformation visualization also is useful for exploration of data sets. So we had looked at the Titanic dataset, we had set up some pivot tables, and we had explored a bit the relationships between fare and survival, point of departure, and so on. Something that we haven't really addressed is the extent to which family size may have impacted on the outcomes in terms of survival. So I've taken this as this area that I'm going to consider here. We can see in Dave Langer's video, Introduction to R Programming for Excel Users, and this is the Data Science Dojo. And there's some interesting material here, some code that I accessed and I'm using tweaked slightly for this video clip. So a strong recommendation that you take a look at the video and use the code here as well. And there's quite a good, serious explanation of the code in this area that I'm going to look. So again, following from the Data Science Dojo, we create this new variable, family size, and we might have the suspicion that maybe family size was a determinant in terms of outcome, and we'd like to address that a little bit. So we don't actually have that in the native data. If we go back to our initial data set that we were working with, we have age and sex and siblings and sibling, spouse, parent, child, but no family size. Right, we don't have a column here for family size. Now, what we can do is we can create a new variable called family size. And again, I'm following in line with what's provided by Dave Langer. And we don't use mutate in perhaps a tidyverse syntax. We would use either mutate or transmute. But here actually we will create, if we look at the Titanic dataset, so the initial dataset that we have here, it is 14 variables. And when we run this Titanic family size, we add 1 to the Titanic. So the sibling, spouse, plus the parent, child, plus the passenger, herself or himself, would equal to the family size. And then we would like to observe survivorship in terms of family size. Okay, so when we run this, notice that the Titanic should go to 15 variables. Let's run. And it's now gone to 15 variables. And when we explore, we now have a new column, family size. Okay, now if we can do a little bit of filtering here, if I go to filter and just observe directly. If we look at the family size, let's go for this largest family size of 11. Now these are 11s, 8. So these are the larger family size ordered by family size, and then look at outcomes in terms of survival. We seem to be getting a lot of zeros. And it's not all related to perhaps the fare or class size. Right, 7, if we come back, so family size 7, 8, 11, seems to be a higher preponderance of zeros here for these larger family. Now that may be something exceptional, but there may be some wisdom here as well. There may be a nugget of knowledge we'd like to explore. Again, if I view the Titanic, that the RStudio viewer comes up, so we just looked at that. We might like to look here at the family size. Right, we might like to represent this family size. So note here what we're looking at. We're looking at family size and we're looking at the count. So the number of the survivorship, but we break it down through the family size, and we can see. So we have the ggplot. We address this data set. We want family size on the horizontal axis, survived on the vertical in the fill. So in the subdivision, the 0 and the 1 denotes survival, 0 denotes that the individual perished, and then we facet wrap, we break this apart and we separate out the by sex and by class. Okay, so female and male, and then first class, second class, third class. What we observe is younger people in first class do survive, not that good. What we observe is that the smaller family size has stronger chance of surviving, it would appear here, but then overall survivorship is good. Smaller family size doing better, doing quite good, but it's also here we can see that larger family size also did quite good. Here larger family size did poorly. Smaller family size, there's actually quite a few of the males who drowned in the smaller family size. This is for class 2, of course. In class 3, the lower, yes, if we were to make direct comparison, the higher family size here in class 3, they did really badly. So if you had large families and were in family size of 6, 8, 9, 12, your likelihood of surviving was smaller. Notice that the large families are really in class 3, and there's less evidence of larger families in class 2. For females, larger family size did poorly. Smaller family size probably did a bit better. And here males did poorly even in the small family size. So family size and female, right? Larger family size looks as if it's consistent with worse outcomes. Larger family size appears to produce worse outcomes in class 3. Okay, so some nuances there, and we might like to address them in a more systematized way later on. Okay, we can do a pivot here and view this again as consistent with some material addressed by Dave. So again, what we see here, it's mainly here, if the larger family size did better in first class, it would appear. So the ones are survive, and we can see average family size, they did better. The larger family size in class 2, they survived. So the average age of the survivor, average class, family size of survivors was bigger in class 1. The average family size in class 2, they did better. So if you survived, you probably belong to a larger family in class 2. But in class 3, larger family size is associated with less survivorship. So more people drowned. So the people who drowned in class 3 had bigger families than the ones on average who survived. And the numbers here dwarf to some degree the numbers above. Okay, so that maybe it's in this category here in third class. The larger family size corresponds with less chance of survival. So the average family size of those who drowned was bigger than the average family size of those who survived. Okay, so maybe something there. Again, we can explore further as we go through. And again, we do this with average family size, and we include in the passenger numbers here, the sex and the class. And we break it down: class 1, class 2, class 3, female, male. So in pivot 1, if we look at pivot 0, we didn't include sex. When we put in here, instead of just having group by P class and survived, when we group by P class sex and survive, then we get pivot 1. So we now have the sex of the family as well. Again, this adds a little bit, but again, it's another way of breaking down the data into its units. What R offers relative to Excel is just a lot more flexibility in terms of how you can present your data, and that's one of the points that Dave made in his YouTube clip that I have included here. Okay, so okay, I'm going to move on to Halvarian's material then, and we can address this maybe head on. So we're going to look at the a Logit model, run a Logit model, and just very simply ask, does age influence survivorship? So this is a Logit model that we're going to estimate. I'm following pretty much in line with Halvarian's approach here. So we run the model, seems to work, and then we get a summary of the model. And when we read the output, what we notice is that age, so this is something that Halvarian drew attention to in his paper, Big Data, New Tricks for Econometrics. So we download the paper, and one of the interesting points that is made in the paper relates to survivorship, and we have an intercept for age and intercept. I run the same estimation here, and we're getting similar output. But one of the interesting things is that the t-stat for age in the Logit model is not statistically significant at the 5% level of confidence. Okay, so when we make the comparison, okay, again, not statistically significant, right? So would suggest perhaps not that important. However, I ran the model again, and I included in other variables in the Logit model. So this is a more general model, which includes P class, sex, age, sibling, spouse. And I report out the output. And then when we look at, when we've this multivariate Logit model, you can see age here does look to be more statistically important. So there's some kind of important interaction going on with the other variables that now has raised the statistical significance. I factorize the data and I apply, so we use Forecats, which is part of the Tidyverse suite, and instead of writing 0, we had 0 before and 1s, we needed that for the Logit estimation. The binary that in this instance survived is binary, 0 and 1. We now replace the 0 and the 1 by died for 0, lived for 1. So just run that through. We look at the data, we look at survived, lived or died. No longer 1 or 0, now lived or died, right? And okay, so I run through this, and I'm going to grow a tree, which I'll cover in the next video clip, and we'll see what the impact is in the next video clip of age using this R part, which is an approach available, a package available in R.